What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the BS Show and happy Monday. We are now a couple days of post UFC 229. Everyone's kind of gathered their thoughts and had a chance to kind of step back and really absorb what happened. You know, you had Khabib Nurmagomedov win via neck crank against Conor McGregor, and you had the melee ensue after the fight was over. Khabib jumping into the crowd. Then Khabib's guys or people that we assume is with Khabib jumped into the cage and were swinging on Conor McGregor. There's a lot of stuff to take away from this. A lot of people believe that Khabib should be suspended. A lot of people think he should not be suspended. Me personally, I don't think Khabib should be suspended. If anything, maybe fine him the $1,500 for jumping out of the cage, and that's it. People jump out of the cage all the time. Conor McGregor jumped out of the cage and went after Jose Aldo, and as far as I know, nothing was done about that. Now, the guys that jumped into the cage for Khabib and did that to Conor, I completely agree. If anyone should get in trouble, it should be those guys. But, Dana White has been known to not keep a standard across the board for suspensions and fines and everything. This is what happens whenever you use Conor McGregor throwing the dolly at the bus for the promotion, for the lead up to the fight. Conor McGregor injured multiple fighters. Multiple fights got pulled off of that card. So Dana White needs to understand that when you let Conor McGregor get away with everything and then some, and there's no repercussions for his actions, people are eventually going to get fed up and start to do things like Khabib did. Khabib, it's said that's completely out of his character. He's a very religious man. He said that Conor insulted his country. He insulted his father, and he took it personal. And most people would do the same. But I don't think anything should be done to Khabib. If anything, like I said, maybe fine him. But moving forward from here, who was next for Khabib? Khabib mauled Conor. No matter which way you try to look at it, the only round that you could potentially give Conor McGregor even a slight nod on would be round 3. But Conor has said he wants a rematch. Dana White was on ESPN this morning, and he said that Conor was already hitting him up saying, I want an immediate rematch. Personally, I don't think it's warranted. Whenever you lose in a dominant fashion like Conor McGregor did, I don't think that warrants a rematch. If it would have went to a close decision, or if it would have been a draw, or if there was something that happened in that fight to where it could be doubted who won, then I understand. But Conor got mauled. The poster boy for the UFC, the money train got obliterated, and it's time for everybody to accept that. You can't just lose a fight and just say, I want a rematch. That's not the way it works. A lot of people wanted a rematch at Conor, and Dana White didn't give it to him. So Dana White needs to be consistent with what he does. Personally, I think Tony Ferguson deserves a shot at Khabib. They've tried putting this fight together 2 or 3 times. Something's always happened, and it's fallen apart. Tony Ferguson looked great coming off that knee surgery. He fights Anthony Pettis, who was a very dangerous opponent, and he got the job done. So if anybody deserves a fight with Khabib, it's Tony Ferguson. He's 34 years old. He's on, I believe, the second or third longest winning streak in the UFC right now. The guy deserves it. There's nobody that deserves a title shot more than Tony Ferguson. Not to mention, he got his belt stripped. He never lost his belt. So I see a Tony Ferguson-Khabib fight in the future. That would be a great fight because Tony Ferguson has way better ground game than Conor. His stand-up's, pretty good. He's long, he's lanky, and we've seen what Khabib can do. So I think Tony Ferguson-Khabib. Moving forward with Conor, where does Conor go from here? If he doesn't get the rematch, which unfortunately he might, Dana White sees dollar signs. If he can find a way to get more security in the building for Conor and Khabib too, maybe he'll do it. But that's a major thing that they're going to be looking at is it too dangerous to have a rematch? So if they don't have a rematch, where does Conor go from here? If he stays in the 155-pound division, he has got a long road ahead of him because the 155-pound division is full of straight-up killers. Anthony Pettis just broke his hand. He's a killer. Al Iaquinta, the guy who lasted 5 rounds with Khabib, didn't get submitted, and looked way better than Conor did. He could fight Al Iaquinta. He could go back down and fight Max Holloway for 145 pounds, or have Max Holloway come up to him if he beats Brian Ortega and get a rematch if he wants to get that one back. So there's so many fights that Conor McGregor can get that are still big name fights, that are still money fights. So Conor's not going anywhere. You know, he signed that 6-fight deal. I'm assuming it's after this, but even if not, he's got 5 fights left. And we all know how Conor gets promoted. We all know it's going to be a show. So let me know what you guys think. You know, I think that even though that Khabib jumped out of the cage and all that happened, that took away from a great performance by Khabib. Khabib looked amazing. He landed the knockdown on Conor, which no one, including myself, seen that coming. So Khabib looked fantastic. So let me know what you guys think. Who deserves what? You know, who do you think Tony Ferguson deserves to fight Khabib like me? Do you think there's somebody else that deserves it? And where does Conor McGregor go from here? So thank you guys for tuning in. It was a great weekend of fights, and we look forward to doing some more videos later.